Now at 9, authorities bring additional charges against a brother in connection with a murder investigation. Plus, authorities in southwest Missouri investigate the whereabouts of a driver following a Sunday night crash. And
OSHA announces it's reevaluating its proposed regulations for fire departments that would have big impacts on those made up of volunteers. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Dow Quick. One of 2 brothers connected to the murder of a man in Jasper County, Missouri, is now formally charged with violent crimes in the Kansas City area. Authorities say the suspects are 2 illegal immigrants from Honduras, Jose Cantero Benitez and Adin Aman Cantero Benitez. Investigators believe they were headed to Oklahoma to buy meth, but got stranded in Joplin and were out of money. Authorities believe they then fatally shot 63-year-old Oklahoma resident Jesse Gilmore at the Road Ranger gas station on Joplin's South Prigmore Avenue and stole his car. Investigators believe they disposed of the body in a ditch alongside Interstate 44. The 2 brothers were later arrested for separate crimes not related to the Jasper County murder in Kansas City and Independence, Missouri. Jose Benitez today made his first court appearance in Jackson County, Missouri for a shooting and attempted carjacking there. The charges include first-degree assault, vehicle hijacking, and armed criminal action. At last report, the victim in that case, a woman, was in critical condition. In a separate case, he's also accused of pistol whipping a woman in Kansas City, Missouri. The Jasper County Prosecutor's Office had already filed charges against Aiden Benitez, including first-degree murder, robbery, and abandonment of a corpse. The Jasper County Sheriff's Office expects additional charges against Jose Benitez as well. The investigation continues following an overnight crash on Gum Road in Joplin. Troopers say a pickup left the road, took out fence posts, then ramped a driveway and overturned. People who came upon the crash say they couldn't find a driver. Troopers are still investigating who was driving. A lot cooler weather out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, big strong cold front came through yesterday evening. Of course, gave us showers and thunderstorms, but with the clouds and the showers today, only 66 for a high, started at 62, well below our average high of 79 for this time of the year. 63 right now in Joplin, 62 in Pittsburgh. Most of us are sitting low to mid 60s. And most of the showers that we had earlier are pretty much rotated out of here. So we're going to be pretty quiet as we go through the next several hours. However, I do think we'll start to see some fog building in. Most of the rain today on the Missouri side, but wherever you see the green, at least 1 inch of rain, which is pretty good because we definitely need it across the region. All right, visibilities. They look fine right now, but as we go through the overnight hours tonight, we're going to start to get some fog building in. So we're going to be talking a lot more about that coming up here in just a bit.
See you soon. OSHA says they're reevaluating proposed regulations that would impact fire departments. KOAM Samantha Walker has more on why departments and state officials are speaking out against the proposed rules.
It's really crucial for the volunteer fire services to be able to continue to operate.
Earlier this year, OSHA released its proposed regulations that would impact fire departments, especially those made up of volunteers. The regulations could have big financial impacts on departments, such as the rule that would disallow trucks over 15 years old. For fire chiefs like John Lilburn, the proposal is concerning.
The citizens of my area would have to make a decision if they wanted to continue to have fire protection. If we wanted to have fire protection and meet those standards, our budget would have to go from, like I said, roughly $20,000 to over $150,000, which is going to put a much more strong burden on the taxpayers.
And it's not just fire departments that have concerns. Kansas state representatives are also speaking out about the impacts these regulations could have. In August, Kansas Senator Jerry Moran called on the Department of Labor to exclude volunteer fire departments like Galesburg from the proposal. Now OSHA says they're reevaluating the regulations and are considering doing just that. Moran has released a statement following OSHA's announcement. He says he believes it's a great first step and encourages others to continue speaking out on the proposal. Lilburn says that's exactly what he plans to do.
I am speaking out against this because I want to make sure that we still have a future for the fire service in the 4 states, in rural America, because I really see this as a move to eliminate some of the rural departments out there.
He says even if OSHA exempts completely volunteer departments, there are still concerns not being fully addressed.
They're not addressing rural departments. They're also not addressing departments such as the Girard Fire Department. Girard has a full-time person on duty, and then the rest of their staff is made up with volunteers. So they're not addressing, does the full-time staff have to meet the requirements but the part-time staff doesn't, or the volunteer staff doesn't? Those things are, there's no answers to those questions.
For now, he plans on continuing to follow what OSHA is planning with its proposal. Reporting in Galesburg, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
OSHA is encouraging those impacted by the regulations to speak out at their public rulemaking hearing starting November 12th. Coming up on Fox 14 at 9, Native American organizations come together in Northeast Oklahoma to help ensure their voices are heard on Election Day.
Charlene shares her
only at Roper Honda.
Okapaw Communications is collaborating with other Native organizations to make sure Native American voters have their voices heard in the upcoming election. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Their vote counts, and so it doesn't matter which party you are, everybody should vote. You know, you don't have a right to complain if you don't get out and vote.
Okapaw Communications in Quapaw is hosting Native voter registration events through a collaboration with the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma and other groups, and their first stop is at the Intertribal Council in Miami. They want to empower Native Americans to use their voice and boost voter turnout.
We ask them to look around, view the candidates, see if they help our tribal folks. You know, we want to vote for people who help us and have an interest in what the tribes and nations in this area needs.
In Oklahoma, you know, we're 50th in the nation of voters getting to the polls. 50th. When we're at these numbers, it's concerning. It's concerning to the tribes, it's concerning to the tribal citizens.
They're also helping people check if they're registered. This is especially important because the governor of Oklahoma announced that more than 400,000 Oklahomans have been deleted from voting registration rolls, including inactive voters.
Usually it's done in the spring. It was done, 3 weeks before. Voter registration ends October 11th.
The organizations want to avoid an issue where someone realizes too late that they're unregistered to vote.
These are something very important that our grandparents fought for, and we need to utilize them.
The organizations want to make sure Native American voices are heard and that the community does their research on candidates that protect tribal sovereignty. Reporting in Miami, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Eligible voters can also register to vote online or at the local tag office. One big issue this election season is immigration and border security. We talked with the Republican and Democratic candidates for U.S. Congressional District 2 of Kansas to get their thoughts.
My own view is that American immigration policy ought to favor the interests of the United States, the interests of Americans. That ought to be the dominant factor as we figure out who comes, goes, and how many. And so I think we have to look at those places in our economy where there are needs that immigrants can fill today. That may be some low-skilled jobs or agricultural jobs. It may be some very high-skilled jobs with particular skills. But that's a discussion I don't think we should try to get to until we secure the border.
Immigration is a very difficult issue, but I believe that the way that I speak about it is one that says of course we want to welcome the stranger. Old Testament. It says we want to welcome the stranger 52 times in the Old Testament, but we need borders. We have to have some rule of law. So I have been right there trying to speak to both sides and begging them, stop using this as a political football. It's hurting our country.
We talked with the candidates on a wide range of issues. You can see those complete unedited interviews on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, experts warn about a rise in cyber scams involving real estate.
We invite you to join us Saturday at the Southern
Culture and Spiva Center for the Arts.
Well, of course, much cooler day for us today. Plus, it was nice to get some rain in here. Scattered showers and thunderstorms really over the past 3 days, but most of us have at least seen something over the past few days, which is definitely good news because we needed an inch officially at the airport in Joplin. 1.13 is where we stand for the year or for the month so far. All right, Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, Tower Cam. We are looking northeast through downtown. All the showers pretty much out of here. We may still have a little bit of drizzle in spots, but I think from this point on, we're going to be watching fog starting to build in, but you can still see the clouds kind of hanging tough through the night, and then you can see the fog starting to build in late tonight into tomorrow morning. This is due to the winds fairly light, plus a lot of moisture on the ground, so visibilities will drop to about a quarter of a mile by the time we head into the morning hours. Temperatures right now, comfortable at 62 in Carthage, 63 in Neosho. We have Miami at 65, Bentonville 66, Neodesha 62, much of the same in Fort Scott. Let's drop south. This will soon to be Hurricane Helene. She will track northwest, become a tropical storm, eventually a hurricane category 1, 2, maybe a low category 3, and then this moisture will lift up into the southeastern parts of the United States. But we have a weird situation here because we have an area of low pressure back near us and then this guy, so they're going to kind of pinwheel or pivot around each other, and all this moisture will kind of shoot back into the central plains, giving us some chances for rain later this week and then heading into the weekend. All right, let's look at your Tuesday. We start with the fog, upper 50s. By the time we get into the noon hour, we're going to get some clouds in here increasing and a couple little showers trying to rotate through during the afternoon. Very scattered, light, but we are going to have some showers out there. So we're looking at 4:30 p.m. temperatures mainly into the mid 70s. Still scattered showers kind of rotating through into Tuesday evening. I think we'll get some patchy fog again Tuesday night into Friday morning. We'll start into the mid 50s. But by Wednesday afternoon, most likely the best day of the work week, we're going to have partly to mostly sunny skies. High temps are going to go into the upper 70s, and then clouds will start to increase again by the time we head into Wednesday night. All right, Tuesday, 60 to start, some morning fog, 71 by noon, scattered showers during the afternoon, high temp, a little bit warmer, right around 76 degrees. Let's go 78 on Wednesday, and then rain chances start to sneak back in with that tropical moisture late Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. Our temperatures stay into the 70s. So during our second half hour, we'll talk more about potential rainfall from Helene.
Additional rainfall would be welcome for most people.
Would be nice.
Coming up. Thanks, Doug. Ahead, what's happening on the campaign trail?
The Harris and Trump campaigns lean into foreign policy as the candidates continue to push in battleground states. I'm Skyler Henry with their messages to voters and the latest CBS News polling.
Museum.org.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are focusing on foreign policy today. But it could be local politics that decide this race, and two states, North Carolina and Pennsylvania, are getting a lot of attention this week. Skyler Henry has the latest from the campaign trail.
Former President Donald Trump visited a farm just south of Pittsburgh to talk about competition from China.
China is supposed to buy $50 billion worth of our product, and they are not living it up to it.
Vice President Kamala Harris was also focused on foreign relations, meeting with the president of the United Arab Emirates at the White House Monday. She scheduled a campaign in Pittsburgh Wednesday, underscoring the importance of the Keystone State in this year's election. The latest CBS News Battleground Tracker poll shows the race a dead heat in Pennsylvania. The Trump campaign is also making a push in North Carolina. The former president rallied there Saturday, and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, has two stops in the Tar Heel State Monday. The state's governor's race was thrown into chaos when a CNN report linked the Republican candidate, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, to inflammatory comments made on a porn site more than a decade ago. Sunday night, most of Robinson's senior staff resigned.
A lot of talented people right now are reaching out to us, and we're right in the process right now of forming a team that we know can still lead us to victory. So we have full confidence in our ability to keep going.
Robinson was not at Trump's weekend rally and is not expected at Vance's events. The CBS News Battleground Tracker shows Harris has opened up a slight lead within the margin of error in North Carolina. The poll was conducted before the revelations about Robinson. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News has learned Vance has been using Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer as a stand-in for Governor Tim Walz as he prepares to debate the Democratic vice presidential candidate next Tuesday. CBS News is hosting that debate with live coverage moderated by Nora O'Donnell and Margaret Brennan. The man accused in an assassination attempt of former President Trump was in court today for a detention hearing. The judge ruled Ryan Routh will stay behind bars for now, citing the evidence in the case. Authorities say Routh was armed with a rifle while he hid in the trees where Trump was golfing earlier this month in West Palm Beach, Florida. Prosecutors say a witness has a letter written by Routh, apparently detailing a planned assassination attempt on Trump. Today, the prosecutors said they plan to present an attempted assassination charge to a grand jury. A huge search for suspects continued today after a mass shooting outside a cigar lounge in Birmingham, Alabama. Police believe multiple shooters opened fire on Saturday night, killing at least 4 people and wounding 17 others. More than 100 shell casings were recovered from the scene. Police believe at least one weapon was outfitted with an illegal Glock switch, which allows a handgun to fire as fully automatic. The Israeli military says its air force has struck more than 300 Hezbollah targets in Lebanon today. It comes after Hezbollah fired dozens of rockets into northern Israel over the weekend, including at least one that exploded in a residential neighborhood. President Biden has said the U.S. will do everything it can to keep a wider war from breaking out. Real estate and rental cybercrimes are happening nationwide. According to the FBI, there are nearly 70,000 reported instances of real estate and rental cybercrimes, with more than $1.4 billion lost from 2018 to 2023. Usher Qureshi takes a look at how these scams work.
One way scammers are targeting people is by posing as government programs for low-income housing on social media. For example, this is a PSA about a fraudulent Section 8 housing ad from a scammer using Facebook. People fill out an application thinking they're getting on a wait list or applying to low-income housing. Instead, scammers steal their information to commit fraud, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Another one is fraudulent housing listings. They often promote a low price, use fake, copied, or doctored photos, and request upfront payments. Seller impersonation fraud is an example of this. These are emails where the scammer attempted to impersonate the legitimate owner of a vacant property and steal funds from the sale. To make sure you don't become the victim of a scam, make sure to do your research. If a price seems super low, compare it to other homes in the area and verify. Ask for official documentation. Cross-check information by making sure the contact information lines up with the property owner listed on an official website. And be wary of anyone trying to make a hard sell or pushing for upfront costs before a housing agreement is signed. Bottom line, if something seems off, take a pause and do your due diligence. And if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. In New York, I'm Usher Qureshi.
Coming up next, a familiar furry face visits some students at a Columbus, Kansas school.
Everyone.
Students at Central School in Columbus, Kansas had a howling good time when this well-known visitor dropped by today. That, of course, was Kansas City Chiefs mascot Casey Wolf. The familiar furry face stopped by the school to tell the kids what the life of a mascot is like and to encourage a love of reading. Staff and students showed the fan favorite a ton of excitement.
My favorite part of watching Casey Wolf today was seeing how excited the kids are, because the Chiefs are such a big part of so many families around here, and just so they can have joy and they'll remember this, and I hope that they'll remember that reading was a part of it.
KC Wolf has been the official Chiefs mascot since 1989. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, how area spook houses give their community more than just some thrills. Plus, the latest research on postpartum depression.
The Big Bang.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
Time of year when haunted house attractions are hiring in preparation for spooky season. KOAM's Lonnie Walton visited one in Webb City and learned they're about more than just the screams.
A lot. We have people that get scared in the first room and they chicken out, so we have a lot of chicken exits. We have all different kinds of mazes with different characters. So anywhere you go, you never know where a character's lurking. So they're screaming all the way through till the very end.
Maddie Idris is the owner of Unleashed Hunt. However, it's not your typical haunted house. While the screams are plenty, so is the gift back to the community.
We donate to various different organizations. The Humane Society is one we always give, we try to give a donation to. I'm actually partnering with the Webb City Theater Department. They're coming out and acting, and in return I'm going to give them a donation to their school program. And then various cancer organizations, Special Olympics, we're actually doing the polar plunge.
Idris and the haunted house actors make sure fun is endured by all.
Kids or someone who's scared, if they want to go through and see everything, we give them a neon light and we take them through with a flashlight, and none of my actors will scare them.
If you really want to get spooked, watch out.
We have an experience for everybody, but we also are really scary and will make people pee their pants or pass out. So yeah.
Reporting in Webb City, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Unleashed Hunt opens this weekend for anyone ready to get into the spooky season spirit. In a small study of pregnant women, researchers were able to find activity in a specific area deep in the brain that's linked to the regulation of negative emotions. Researchers in Germany say larger studies are needed, but the hope is that testing for this activity will help identify which women are most likely at risk for postpartum depression. New research from the Mayo Clinic reveals that alcohol-dependent men have different levels of certain hormones and proteins known to influence behavior compared to alcohol-dependent women. Researchers say the results imply that men and women with alcohol problems might benefit from different treatments. And older cancer survivors face double the risk of stroke and heart attack compared to cancer-free seniors. That's according to an analysis in the Journal of the American Cancer Society. Researchers in Australia found that chemotherapy was also connected to elevated rates of cardiovascular events. A bit later, it's time for
Well, it turned out to be a gloomy Monday for us today, but we wanted the cooler temperatures and we needed some rain across the region, scaring showers and thunderstorms over the past couple days. Great shot. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam looking through downtown Joplin. All right, most of the showers are out of here. Still a little bit of mist or a little bit of drizzle in spots, but pretty quiet, at least rainfall-wise, as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Temperatures kind of hold steady into the 60s and eventually get back near 60 later on tonight. But look at the fog that builds in across the region. This is due to the moisture on the ground, no winds. We hit about 100% humidity later on tonight, so visibilities are going to be down to about 1/4 of an inch. So if you're going to be on the roadways late tonight into tomorrow morning, definitely be careful. 63 in Stockton, 66 Bentonville, Grove 64, Parsons sitting at 63 degrees. Let's drop south. This will be soon to be Hurricane Helene, which is tracking northwest, kind of curves back toward the northeast. Should make landfall Thursday afternoon as a strong Category 2 or possibly a low Category 3. And this moisture lifts into the southeastern parts of the U.S. But notice rain back in our neck of the woods. Let me show you why. Area of low pressure hanging out, the same one that's giving us the rain right now. So it just kind of hangs out across the southern plains. We call this the Fujiwara effect. So if you take a center point, two cyclones, they'll pivot around each other. So if you watch, our hurricane lifts up into the southeastern parts of the U.S. and then this moisture transfers back toward the west into our area of low pressure. So we don't actually get the remnants of the hurricane, but we do get the moisture from it later this week, then heading into the weekend. So Wednesday looks dry. Most of Thursday looks dry. You can see a few showers trying to creep back in Thursday night into Friday. Let's hope we're not too far northwest. Right now, it looks like most of the rain along and south of the I-44 corridor. Periods of showers Friday night, even some showers on Saturday, and then our chances will start to decrease as we head into Sunday, but at least we have more rain in the forecast. Now, until then, we stay mainly dry. So let's look at your Tuesday morning. Starting upper 50s, we got to burn the fog off. Clouds roll right back in. Here comes some showers late in the afternoon into the evening hours. May have a rumble or two of thunder. Scattered showers push through. Again, the key word there is scattered. And then once this rolls out, we drop into the mid 50s, and then we warm on Wednesday into the upper 70s. Looks like a pretty good day. 60 to start, 71 by noon, high temp, 76 again. We're going to have those showers late. 78 on Wednesday, 76 on Thursday, and we hold into the 70s all the way into the weekend. So we get a nice stretch for this first week of fall-like temperatures. Hopefully a little bit more rain. Really kind of hard to beat because, man, my yard needed a little bit of water.
A lot of yards were crispy out there, and the trees, the shrubs, the gardens, everything needed.
You got it.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern football speaks at their weekly press conference. Plus, Nevada faces Webb City in a big non-conference softball matchup. Rob Aldridge has those highlights and more.
We're about halfway through the high school softball season in Missouri. The Webb City Cardinals have won the best records in the COC, and meanwhile tonight they face the Nevada Tigers, who are undefeated in the Big 8 Conference. This game was originally scheduled to be in Nevada, but due to the rain, we move it to the turf field in Webb City. What a battle between these two. First inning of the game, this ball's popped straight up. Lily Hall comes in from second base and makes a diving catch in the middle of the infield. Great play to start this game. In the circle for the Cardinals is a sophomore, Olivia Nieberg. She pitched a clean 4 innings of scoreless softball, including a big strikeout here with the bases loaded. Meanwhile, Nevada had their ace going. Peyton Eden was dominating this game from start to finish. She also held this lead for 4 scoreless innings of work. So we go to the top of the 6th inning. This game's tied 1-1. Kaylee Holcomb at the plate. She hits this off the defender's glove right here. Cadence Warner comes down to score the go-ahead run. Nevada takes the lead 2-1. Final inning right here. Tying run at third base. Lily Hall hits a ground ball to second. The throw is initially dropped, but Hallie Richmond picks it up just in time. Umpires have a conversation. They ruled that indeed was the final out of the ball game. What a game this was. Nevada wins a thriller. Tigers beat the Cardinals 2-1. Indoors in the Cardinal Dome, Webb City Volleyball playing it tonight at home against the Mount Vernon Mountaineers. Both teams on a 2-game win streak, kicking off the first set. Not really close, long rally from the Mountaineers offense, and they try to go for the kill, but Adeline Maxwell and Jaylee Rutledge form a strong wall to block it. Cardinals take the first set by double digits. Second set, Mountaineers overcome a big deficit. Rutledge tries to float it, but she can't get the ball past the net. Mountaineers take the lead in the set, but the Webb City, they fight back right here. Later in the set, Rutledge overcomes her earlier mistake and slams it for the kill. Cardinals now lead 2-0. You think it may be over, but Mount Vernon stays in it. Third set here, Rutledge puts a little too much mustard on it as that one sails out of bounds. Mountaineers win the third set to the fourth set now. Same story as the last 2 sets, neck and neck in the score. Savannah Crane bumps to Kyra Long, and she puts the nail in the coffin. Cardinals take the fourth set. They defeat Mount Vernon 3-1. Well, the Missouri Southern Lions football team is now 0-4 after being shut out last week against Northwest Missouri State. The Lions hit the road for a non-conference matchup facing Northeastern State. Here's what head coach Atiba Bradley had to say during the team's weekly press conference.
Yeah, guys, I'm frustrated. We're sitting at 0-4. I think at times we've played winning football, but we've also played some really good teams. And so, you know, when the results don't match the process, it's extremely frustrating. But make no mistake about it, we're down, but we're not out. The season isn't over. We're not just gonna, ship it in and just be done with the season and call it a wash. And so the message to the team has been that.
Well, we counted the votes after our press box show over on Fox 14. This week, our performance of the week winner is Mount Vernon. The Mountaineers went on the road to beat an East Newton team who has had a big turnaround season thus far. Mount Vernon won that game 48-6. To vote on next week's performance of the week, just head over to koamnewsnow.com/vote. And boy, what a week it was, I mean, for a game for Webb City. And, I know a lot of parents were upset about that call at the end of that game and that softball game. And I apologize as parents thought I was being passive-aggressive by not showing them the clip. But you know what? I'm not the umpire. It's not my place to start controversy or anything like that. So I apologize to any parents who thought anything of that nature. But, yeah, I mean, what a great game it was. Both teams were battling it out to the very end.
What a lot of pressure it is on umpires. It's
yes, high school umpires. Let's say that.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be right back. Nearly 165 million people have an important item on their to-do list in the coming weeks, enrolling in their employment-sponsored health insurance. Health policy research organization KFF says more than 60% of people under age 65 last year got their coverage through their jobs. And enrollment time is just around the corner. Emily Schmidt has more on how to find your best health insurance fit.
No one size fits all, and the same goes for employer-provided health insurance. That makes open enrolling an especially personal challenge.
Often you're being asked, when you have a choice of plans, you're being asked to make a trade-off between premiums and cost sharing.
Of course, we can't predict what's going to happen in terms of our health, but we can kind of think about, how do we expect to use our coverage in the year ahead and kind of choose according to what you think your expenses will be.
There's the alphabet soup of options, HMO versus PPO.
You tend to have more choice of provider in a PPO. That's the upside. The downside is if you have to go out of network, you'll probably end up paying more.
And FSA, which is often use it or lose it savings, versus the HSA, which requires a high deductible plan that potentially requires more spending up front. Then consider healthcare you used this year with care that might be brand new.
The typical worker spends something like 15 minutes a year picking their health plan. The best advice I could give is to spend more time than that to make sure you understand how the plan works, what it covers, what it doesn't.
Spend a little bit of time in figuring out how you would navigate your coverage when you need it, because often when you need it is not the best time to try to figure it out.
It's the health insurance twist on an apple a day keeping the doctor away. Work to pick the right plan now, so the right plan is in place to work for you. For Consumer Watch, I'm Emily Schmidt.
Now, if you don't have health insurance through your work or other sources like Medicare or Medicaid, you might be able to get coverage through the U.S. Health Insurance Marketplace. Open enrollment for 2025 begins November 1st and runs through January 15th. You can learn more about that option at healthcare.gov. HP Hood LLC is recalling Lactaid milk in more than 24 states because they could contain trace amounts of almond, which is not listed on the label. No illnesses have been reported so far, though the possible presence of almonds could result in a life-threatening reaction for people who have that allergy. Consumers are urged to return the recalled products to the place of purchase. Boeing has issued a new offer to 33,000 machinist union members who have been on strike for 11 days. The revised offer includes an immediate 12% raise and a 30% raise over the 4-year life of the contract. Boeing is offering to increase 401k contribution rates. Union members want the company to bring back its pension. Workers gave that up after the last strike in 2008 when Boeing threatened to move production to non-union plants. The union has not commented on the new offer. And Motel 6 will be under new management soon. Parent company Blackstone has agreed to sell the hotel chain to India-based Oyo in a deal worth $525 million. The agreement includes the company's Studio 6 locations and is expected to be wrapped up by the end of the year. There are more than 1,400 Motel 6 locations across the U.S. and Canada. Coming up, we take you to a shop where they have a full stock of kindness. As the nation wrestles with the complex issue of immigration, a surprising shop in New York is focused on the needs of migrant families who recently arrived. Bradley Blackburn shows us how they're offering kindness with no price tag.
The streets of New York are filled with thousands of shops, but the little shop of kindness is something unique, where everything is free, most importantly, a warm welcome.
When they come into the shop, we greet them, we offer them coffee and snacks, and we guide them through the shop with a personal shopper who will treat them as a valued customer.
Ilse Thielman founded the Little Shop of Kindness 2 years ago, when buses arrived in New York filled with migrants making headlines across the country. And while others saw the complex politics, she saw people in need.
It doesn't matter to me whether people think they should be here or should not be here. They're here. They need this help, and we're going to provide it.
The nonprofit shop is open only to those who've arrived within the last 18 months. It's staffed by volunteers and filled with donations.
We have shoes, toys, toiletries, diapers for the babies.
Even surprising things like costume jewelry and cell phone cases for people from all over the world who've left everything behind.
Not only do we want to give them the necessities, we also want to give them a sense of dignity and respect and normalcy.
Since the shop opened its doors, volunteers estimate they've served more than 17,000 people, and the need isn't going away.
2 años.
Sonia Erauhu and her 2-year-old daughter Marlita recently arrived from Ecuador. She told us here they give you things from their heart.
De corazón, o sea, no te...
Unlike other places, you're not a project, you're a human being. A shop ready to help with life's needs and reminding that everyone needs kindness.
The Little Shop of Kindness is also a one-stop shop for other services. They connect migrant families with other resources like education, housing, and healthcare. And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a mountain lion cub snuggling up with a stuffed animal. Let's make it a great tomorrow.